Welcome to Sachino's YouTube channel. Today we'll be discussing about simple fraction, and to be precise, the introductory aspect of fraction. Now, what's a fraction? Well, a fraction is a part of a whole number. Now, let me put it into writing before we move on to the types of fraction that we have for this class. Now, let's go. So, I will say that a fraction is a part of a whole. So that is what we call fraction. So let's move on. So in general, a common fraction is always written as this. Now let me show you the pattern in which we write a fraction. I will say a common fraction is always written as, now like this, A all over B. Actually, this A, the one on top, is called the numerator. We call it the numerator. While the one underneath here, we call it denominator. Now there's a division line here. We call it the bar. We use the term bar for it. So I will just say the bar. Say the bar. So let's discuss about the types of fractions that we have. Types of fraction. So basically, we are going to discuss about 4 different types of fraction that we have. So the first one is, we call it a proper fraction. So let's take it down. So let me write it. So what is actually a proper fraction? Let me underline it. So this is a fraction which has the numerator bigger than the denominator. That's what we call a proper fraction. So let's go. This is a fraction Now let me move on to the other side of the board, which has numerator smaller than the denominator. Okay, so let me give it examples on this. The first one, let me just say 3 all over 4. You can see 3 is smaller than 4. So that's a proper fraction. I can have 15 all over 19. It's a proper fraction. Okay, let me pick up another example like 8 all over 27. Okay, I can also say 3 all over 100. And etc. like that. We have millions of them. So now let's go on to the second type of fraction. We call it improper fraction. Improper fraction. Okay, let me underline this also. So this time around, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So let's go. Now let me also put it into writing. And we have This is a fraction which has numerator greater or bigger than its denominator. Okay, so let me pick 4 examples on this. 7 all over, let me say over 4. You can see this time around numerator is bigger than the denominator. Okay, I can say 12 all over 5. Well, I can also use something like 30 all over 7. Okay, let me pick up the last one. You can say 91 all over 8. So, and so on and so forth. So these are the examples of improper fraction that we have. Now let's move on to the third type of fraction. We call it a mixed number. So that's number 3. We call it mixed number. Okay, so what's a mixed number? Well, this is another special type of fraction where we have an integer and partly a fraction. Partly an integer and also partly a fraction. So let's go. I will say this is a number. This is a number that consists partly of an integer and partly of a fraction. Okay, so I'm going to give example. So we have 2 whole number 4 over 5. You can see the 2 there is an integer while this is a fraction. So that's why we call it a mixed number. So we have 7 whole number 3 all over 20. Okay, let me say 130 whole number, let's say 5 all over 11. All these are mixed numbers. So let's go to the fourth one. So they are called mixed number. Let me just underline it. Okay, the fourth one, we call it negative fraction. So from the word negative fraction, it means a fraction that has a negative value. Okay, so let's go. Negative fraction. Okay, let's move. So definitely I will say that from the word, I will say this is a fraction. This is a fraction with a negative number. So in general, this is how it looks like. So in case if we have negative, if the negative is on top, it's also the same thing if the negative is at the bottom. Okay, so simply you can write it also by putting the negative in between the bar. So I will just say we have A all over B. So it is best you write it in between like this. Okay, now let us move into another aspect. We call it simplifying fractions. So let's go. Simplifying fractions. So let me put it down. Simplifying fractions. So this is quite very easy. So we may be asked to reduce a fraction to the lowest term. So let's take it down. Let me move on. Question 1. So if you are asked to simplify, A, let's say we are given 7 all over 21. So how do we tackle this? So we can just say, okay, I noticed that 7 can divide 7 here, 1. 7 can divide 21. We have it to be 3. So actually the answer to this fraction to the lowest term is 1 all over 3. Let's take the second question again. 15 all over 20. So I notice here now that 5 can divide 15 here to give me 3, and 5 can divide 20 here to give me 4. And definitely the answer to this fraction to the lowest term is 3 all over 4. Now let's pick up the third question, which is the C part. So let's say we are given 7 all over 35. Okay, I noticed that here 7 can also divide 7, here 1. 7 can divide 35. We see have to be 5. And the answer to this one is 1 all over 5. And that is the perfect answer to that. Now let's take the D part of the question. So let's say we are given negative 2 all over 4. You can see this is a negative fraction. So in this case again, I can say 2 goes here, 1, 2 goes in 4. We have 2. So finally, our result here will give me, so instead of putting the negative at the top, you can put it at the center, like writing it minus 1 all over 2. And that is the answer to that question. Now let's pick another example. So let us express these numbers as a mixed number. So let's go. Number 2. So if you are asked to express as a mixed number. Okay, so let's go. So if you are giving something like this, number 1, we are giving 19 all over 8. So how do we express this? So what we just need to ask ourselves a question. How many 8 can we see in 19? We have 2. So that makes 16. So remainder how many to make up 19? So we have remainder 3, then all over the same 8. So let's take a look at it again. 8 times 2, we have it to be 16. 16 plus 3, we still have it to be 19. So that is perfectly correct. So let's take the second question. If you are given 60 to divide 7. So how do we convert this to a mixed number? So how many 7 can we see in 60? Definitely we are going to have 8. We are going to have 8 because 8 times 7 we have 56. So remainder 4 to clock 60. So we have 4 all over 7. And that is the answer to that question. Now let's take another example, number 3. So if you're asked to express as improper. Express as improper fraction. So now look at this question here. A, we have 3 whole number, and let me say this is 2 all over 7. So this one here, I will just use this 7 to multiply by this 3, and that actually will give us 21. 21 plus this 2 that is on top here, we have it to be 23. So we have 23 over 7. So the B case, and that's the answer. The B case, if you are giving something like 6 whole number, let me say 7 all over 20. Just use this 20 to multiply by this 6. Then we have it to be 120. 120, then plus this 7, we have it to be 127. So this simply means 127 all over the same 20. And that is the answer to that question. Now let us solve number 4 of the question. Let's go. Let's say if you are asked to simplify. If you are asked to simplify, okay, look at this question here. A, 3 squared all over, then 4 minus 7. Don't forget that 3 squared is the same thing as 9 all over 3 squared is 3 times 3. That is 9. Then 4 minus 7. Then we have it to be minus 3. Then I notice something here. Now watch out. 3 goes here. 1. 3 can divide 9. We have it to be 3. And our final answer becomes negative 3. And that is the answer to that question. Now let's move on to the second question here. We move on. So the B case, if you are asked to solve something like this, 7 plus, and this is 2 all over, this is 4 times 3. So how do we tackle this? Now this is also very easy. 7 plus 2, we have it to be 9, and 4 times 3, we have it to be 12. So something can divide, which is 3. 3 can go in 9, we have it to be 3. 3 can divide 12, we have it to be 4. And finally, the answer to this case here will be 3 all over 4. And we have solved that question. Now, if you are asked to solve this also, now watch out, that's the C part of the question. Let's say we are given 24 all over negative 3 to multiply by negative 4. So how do we tackle this? This is actually 24. Then don't forget, negative times negative, we have it to be positive. 3 times 4, we have it to be 12. And something is happening here also. 12 goes here, 1. 12 can divide 24. We have 2. And the final answer to that question is 2. And we have come to the end of this class. Now let me give an assignment out. Make sure you solve. Give me your answer. Now this is the assignment. Please subscribe immediately you finish watching this video. For more math tutorials, like, comment, and share this video to friends. Thank you very much. We meet in the next video.